So, this is a creative integration support session as a sort of like an active meditation that you can work with after any experience. If you maybe have been feeling like you have been in a deep meditation or been moving through challenges in some way in your life. And sometimes to help support our system to receive more deeply what we've experienced, um, and to bring more insight into maybe emotions or images that might be bubbling up from within. Um, it can help to shift out of trying to, like, journaling with words can be very helpful, and quiet reflection, but also we can listen within through um, receiving, through creating uh, with art. And you don't have to think that you're an artist at all for this process. And also because it's Father's Day today, at least for people in some countries, but also in the Northern Hemisphere, this is the summer solstice, which is the time of a lot of light. So there are themes of sort of illumination, and also there was a global healing summit today dedicated for healing of Mother Earth, or peace and uplifting of all of the people and all of the beings, that we are all part of one global family. So with these themes of the relationship of the inner mother and father, or sorry, of the the outer, well, not that there's really a true inner or outer, but what we perceive as, um, so the father, the son, which sometimes is symbolic for the energy of the father, the light that makes life possible, um, and but also within life, within Mother Earth, this home that makes our life possible, and the interconnection of really all of the elements. In many ways, actually, the earth is both a mother and father earth, through the combination of the elements, um, that also are within our own system. Um, so this is so I thought that in because it's Father's Day, and personally I am also wanting to create a Father's Day card for my dad. Um, I thought that it might be, um, um, this is sort of a combination of an integration process, but how we can also work with this process as a gift that we give to others. So you can explore in this way for yourself personally, and you can also explore in this way in honoring the connections that we have, in our relationships, which also are really important for our life. And um, before I get into the creative integrating art process, which is a way of listening within and in the field, um, um, let's pause for a moment and take a few breaths. And this can also be very helpful for integration support. Sometimes when there's a lot of energy that's moved through our system, things kind of sometimes feel a little wobbly or shaky afterwards. So, for example, I notice my mind is in attempting to make this video is speeding up a bit, looking for the right words. But that when that happens, it creates disconnection from the body, and when there's a bit of nervousness present, then in my system, then also sometimes the heart is contracting a little, or there's tension in the body. And these things tend to, if I'm not present with them, then it tends to lead to going back more into thinking. So it's so much more nourishing to open and relax, to be able to receive what is here now, and slowing down instead of speaking too quickly or with too many words also helps. And so for all integration, actually, one perspective may be that the simple practice of pausing, slowing down, and returning to the present moment that's a really good place to start. And this is something we can practice intentionally every day, even in for small few moments, or it could be for 15 minutes or more if you have time, but it doesn't need to be a long process or a process that requires many hours. We can find small windows in our day to step in to the doorway of the present moment. And the resetting in this way also helps. It helps our nervous system to reset or release if there's been tension. So again, for this, so for the theme of the solstice, and feeling gratitude for life, for the warmth of the sun and the light that helps to sustain life here on Earth, including this physical body, and all the way that light move or warmth and heat moves through all of creation. And sometimes for myself, because I can easily get ungrounded, I find it helps to feel my feet on the floor to also arrive more to where I am. And so just noticing the sensation of aliveness in your feet and receiving the energy of the earth through your feet, like you have roots, can be helpful. Okay. I had to pause for a moment there because my mom was calling. Okay, so that's a good reminder that I create this quickly and only have a little bit of time because there are other things that are really important and work and emails to attend to. Anyway, so in your own way, breathe, ground, arrive in the moment, and then we can set an intention. So this is like from the heart, for whatever for the creative integration process. That can be It can be as simple as sort of dedicating it to like almost like a little prayer internally, or of please help me to or just listen. You don't even have to say please, but just you're within yourself. You are sort of calling for opening to receive maybe anything that will be helpful to integrate your experiences from meditation, or maybe if there's been emotional stress, something, transitions happening in your life. But just to listen within. And then if you're wanting to create something in this sort of a way on a theme, and whether for yourself or for someone else, so in this case, the theme of gratitude for the Father and for the solstice, and Mother Earth is included in that as well. But I'm specifically personally, I am specifically making a Father's Day card for my dad. Um, I realized in a meditation that I had ways that I had sort of been keeping distant from my dad, probably from like we all experience sometimes like the little child parts of us that maybe felt scared of our dad in some way when we were little. Um, they seem so much bigger than us, and we may not remember even that we're carrying sometimes um, uh, that sort of fear of our father internally. But it can also sometimes be fear of our own power. Um, and and it can be so helpful to remember the everything that we've received from our father, the direction they've given us for our life. Um, and um, I've been learning again in deeper ways that for both our lineages in our family systems that accepting fully like the to accept fully our lives is also about accepting our parents fully exactly as they are. Um, and that allows us to receive all the gifts that we've received from them because we have, each of us have inherited strengths and gifts and other qualities from our parents. And they've made our lives possible, or we wouldn't still be here. Um, so, um, so I'm dedicating this creative integration for my dad in gratitude. And then whatever theme you're working on, you can just sort of bring that into your heart. And in a way where you're sort of opening, instead of attempting to create things from your mind, this is a process of opening to listen for maybe whether it's sort of through colors or the movement of lines and shapes, and sometimes an image may take form. If you're very intuitive visually, you might, when you listen within, you might see an image or have an idea of an inspiration. Sometimes it, for people who are more auditory, perhaps you might have a thought that moves through almost like your own voice, but that feels like it sort of arrives as a idea of inspiration. Um, but sometimes we can also explore through sort of following the body, starting with even a color. Um, and I'm very grateful for my dad for his dedication to service in many ways through and when he was working and also volunteered in different ways to support foundations in the community and his love of nature and taking care of life in many forms. Um, and He taught me chess when I was little. Um, and Asked questions sometimes about, um, opened the ideas, gave me sort of the idea of that maybe there's more to life than the material world. Um, and used to read myths and stories, like mythical archetypes, and related to the also to sort of the planets and but there was a sense of wonder in exploration in that way. And reading as well. Um, there are many things um, that I received from my father that I'm very grateful for. So, okay, so I'm going to stop talking. And so, whether you have markers, or I should have said that at the beginning, gather paper and other art supplies you might have. So, whether you're using markers, colored pens, pastels, pencil crayons, or some form of paints, or collaging, even looking at images. But I'll make another video another day about collaging. Um, but if you're not sure where to begin, then one way is to just listen in a sense with your body. And like, for example, I have a watercolor set. This is from the dollar store, so you don't even need to, it's not something you need to have. If you want to just explore, you can start with a dollar store watercolor set or something like that. It doesn't have to be watercolors either, of course, but it could be. If you prefer painting in oil, that's okay, I guess, too. Um, and then I notice like what colors feel. So again, I'm dedicating this to my father. So for for gratitude with my dad, the colors feel like they have different frequencies. So are there colors that I feel drawn towards? And so you might notice your eyes move towards a certain color when you listen in this deeper way. So again, we're not looking from the mind, or it's more like listening from the body, and see, is there a color that draws your attention? And for myself and practicing this for a while, like I find my head will even move. It's like there's a co-creation of the inner. Uh, um, so anyways, and so then you can just notice what colors, and then with whether you're using markers or paints, um, you can also notice where on the page in front of you do you feel drawn towards starting if you're not sure of what the image would be. And so you can sort of listen while you're looking at the page and see even where the paintbrush or marker, where something is, there's a direction, a place of starting that you feel moved towards. Um, and then you can also sort of explore just by allowing the how it feels to start to move the paintbrush or pen or whatever you're working with. Um, uh, Even if you're not sure of what the shape is yet, you can explore a movement. So, for example, you could start with a line, and then you might realize as you start to make the line of like, oh no, it wants to be a circle. Or maybe you start with a circle and you realize, no, it wants to be a line. So it's okay. There isn't a right or wrong way for this process. Um, but it's sort of like allowing the movement to occur, with holding that intention of whether you're receiving inner guidance to help integrate or dedicating um, uh, the creative process for someone else that you're um, uh, where you're honoring their relationship. Um, and Again, enjoying the process. So this is also a good exercise for letting go of ideas, of how we think things, like letting go of the idea of perfectionism and just listening within. So what is the color that might express some of the related to maybe the energy of the father, um, or the archetype of the father. Um, and like listening with your whole body, for where attention sort of goes. And then you can see, is there another color? If you're not sure, like if you've created something. So this is what's emerged so far. But then you can move to another color and see. And then it can be helpful sometimes to keep sort of anchoring into your intention again. So bringing your attention back to your heart. So again, with gratitude for my father, help integrate earlier today, besides that it's Father's Day and Solstice, but earlier there was also a meditation, as I might have mentioned already. But there was healing, a sense of healing for lineages on different levels, internally and with myself, and then sort of the family system biologically, and also other um, mother and father figures in my life. Um, because actually, any father also has an aspect of the mother within them, and all mothers have an aspect of the father within them too. So there isn't really separation in the way we sometimes think. Um, but with gratitude for my dad, I'm looking for what other color I'm drawn to. So initially it was purple and now it's white. And I think probably this is enough of an explanation, maybe. I hope that you get to have this sense of um, um, but yeah, this is sort of like exploring how does love want to move through you. And love is love, in many ways is really connected to life, that they are the same. We were created um, um, through that union of our mother and father. Um, and our life is possible from um, the union of them within ourselves. Uh, uh, and maybe this is enough of an explanation um, for you to explore. But again, it's like a process of listening. You can listen with your whole body to receive um, inner guidance through the field of the guiding intelligence that is within you already. Or if you also are open to the idea of like sort of the intelligence of the universe and the earth and um, um, other sort of guidance on other levels in any way, but like with opening to receiving from that place. Um, and if you're and you can be holding a person also, like you can be creating this for yourself for your own learning, but also um, sort of like connecting or listening for what would be um, uh, um, frequencies and colors and images or something as a honoring of the relationship that you're creating something for the person you're creating something for. But I've noticed in beginning this process and sharing about this, that earlier where my energy felt very frenetic, like there was almost like a bit of a subtle shaking happening in my body. Um, um, a tingling, but also like a nervousness that was present. And now some of that just in this way of actively pausing, listening, and moving the body in simple ways and working with the colors and shifting out of the thinking mind that was starting to look at emails and then it seemed to be overstimulating to look at words on the screen. And so working with something physical with your hands and creating can be a nice way to help settle some of the activation that might be present for you through any type of when you've had a strong experience in some way, including beautiful experiences of opening or healing. But then afterwards, sometimes if we don't create a container for that, then it our body maybe doesn't always process it. And another example would be going outside and being with nature in other ways to listen to the web of life through Mother Earth. And gentle movement with the body as well can be very helpful. So I'm going to end this video and continue finishing this card on my own, but I hope this is helpful for you to support an integration for you in your own life in any experiences that you may be having. And you can explore this even on a small daily basis along with journaling with words. You can also explore with simple drawings. It doesn't have to be painting. It could just even be making lines on a page, following the energy that way. Sometimes new things come into view in the process. Okay, be well, and if this is interesting or helpful, I would like to make small video or short videos every day for daily practice. Maybe like I'm not sure how many days, but kind of like a little challenge for tuning in different ways that we can bring into our life and to help breathe and reset, listen within to our inner guidance, and as a sort of nourishing pause from sometimes a lot of overthinking that we might get caught up in when we're busy. So if that sounds like it would be of interest to you, I didn't finish that, then please let me know and I will, what would you be interested in a daily, say like something like 15 minutes or 30 minutes practice? It'd be live together online rather than only sending a video, or maybe both. I could send a little introductory video and then a time that we meet. It would be probably in the morning, but that we meet for a little sort of centering, tuning in practice in some way. Okay.